Hello and welcome in to Spiritual Mixtape, the podcast. I'm Daisy Mack, and today I'm taking you through a canyon in Mulholland. It's not quite in Mulholland. So Mulholland's a really famous road in Los Angeles, where I currently live. And for me, I associate this road with old-timey Hollywood and people drink driving in the 1920s and going flying off these canyons. I'm showing you down here. They are steep. It is a scary drive. And we all know that in the 1920s, they did a little bit more than drink and they'd go flying off these mountains super fast. But I love it round here. And this is a slightly, it's a surprise episode for me because I recorded this beautiful walking meditation when I was in Palm Springs. And I recorded it in my favorite of the canyons there, Murray Canyon. So pretty, it's an oasis. And it was perfect. But when we watched the episode back, the audio was distorted and we couldn't save it. So here am I today. And it's really a bit of a theme of 2024 of like, how do you roll with things when they don't go your way? When you plan, yet life has another road, avenue, story for you. You know, you think you got it all down and life takes you another way altogether. Like, how do you react? Do you sit down and cry and refuse to get up? Do you sit down and cry and then get up and fix it? Or do you just go, okay, let me carve out some more time and do something different and save my disappointment for something that's really sad? And I mean, it's a bit sad. I would love to have given you some desert magic, but maybe this one is going to be more fulfilling for more of you. But let's start this walking meditation by just connecting to our breath, wherever you are in the world. Take a deep inhalation in and then let it go. Breathing in and releasing. And now let's connect to our feet. Let's see how they're doing. What's up with them today? Are they good? Are you feeling solid on the ground? And then keep walking, keep moving. And now bring your awareness to your jaw. I know we're jumping up and down the body. It's okay. We can do whatever we want. Give it a little wiggle and see if you can release any tension from around your face.
Which I could tell. I rewatched it.
Yes.
And I am.
And then my favorite part, but the worst part of doing a walking meditation, let's slow it down. Let's slow it right down. How awkward do you feel right now? Do you feel like, oh, my body wants to speed up? Do you feel like people are looking at me? All the resistance to going slow in life. Well, get slower. Maybe come to a stop. And what do you notice when you're not marching through life? What do you notice? I can hear other people further up this trail. Most of all, I can hear the birds. I can hear a plane that I can't see. But what about you? What can you hear? Let's start with hearing. Name 3 things. Now, what can you feel? I can feel the sun and the cool air as I move under the trees. And now finally, what can you sense? Maybe you need to stop and really take a moment to pull into what you can sense. It doesn't matter if you're on a busy street. You can sense other people's agitation on a busy street. Kind of fun when it's not our own agitation. Now, how do you want to move through life today? Would you like to be more mindful? Or would you like to get back to your march? Because you got some stuff to get done, you got some boundaries to put up, and your march is going to help you. But perhaps you want to be marching through life where you got healthy boundaries, but you've also got some really great connection with your own self-care. So what's the intention for today? How are you moving? "2024 is really bringing volume back to our life. We're really at a place now where we're as busy as we were pre-COVID, but dealing with a whole bunch of complex problems that weren't an issue before COVID. For a start, we're all 4 years older. But complex social, political, economic, financial, and all really aware how fragile things are. Make hay while the sun shines. So with this increase in volume, but with all of the wisdom that we've taken over the last 4 years, how are you approaching life now? How are you looking at your volume and looking to achieve without burnout? A mindful march, perhaps. Perhaps that's the intention always. I got shit to do, but it isn't as important as my peace of mind. There is the prettiest flowers on these trees. I don't know if you'll be able to see I don't even know if I got that. They smell really good too. So let's say we're on a mindful march and we're really rolling with any changes that are coming our way, and we are not faltering when plans don't go afoot. And I can't tell you actually how important this is right now, because we're about to hit our first full Mercury retrograde for the year. And anyone that's listening to this podcast, we all have a few things in common. I'd say one, we're good souls, trying to make the world a bit better in our own way. Two, we're really sensitive to energy. We're really aware of when other people in the room aren't happy. We're really aware of when the moon is changing. We're really aware of climate change, solar flares. We're super sensitive. I know this about everyone in the community. So when a Mercury retrograde happens, it doesn't even need to be like, oh, the world is falling apart because it's a Mercury retrograde and can't sign contracts and we're all going to be really superstitious. It's not even about you and Mercury retrograde. It's about the other people who aren't super clean with their energy, who aren't conscious that things are going to be slower for 3 weeks. They're the ones causing the bottleneck, the Mercury retrograde pile up. And we're dealing with them. But yeah, this is, I guess, really what the universe then wanted me to create by distorting that Palm Springs oasis walking meditation was for me to make this one, and for me to hold this walking meditation so that, I don't know, if you are going to play this when things are going wrong for you, or not wrong for you, but when things slow down, when you're having to change plans for reasons that you don't really think are particularly good reasons, but you don't have a choice because people have free will. They're allowed to change their minds. It's going to be okay. Yeah. I guess this is a walking meditation for Mercury retrograde then. Or for Mercury retrograde themes. And I do think that if you've had a spiritual awakening and if you are trying to be a good person in a kind of weird world right now, it sort of always feels a little bit Mercury retrograde. And that is partly because people who aren't awake yet, who aren't on their spiritual journey, they are still reading an old system. They're reading new energy from an old system. It's like they're trying to read English, but all they know is Latin. Yeah, that is such a British boarding school thing to say. Everyone's like, oh, what's Latin? I don't know. It's like people like, I don't know, feeling a little bit Mercury retrograde with my own words and my own communication. But I do understand that energy is energy and you will feel what I'm saying here. And all you need to imagine right now is that if you're having a heightened eclipse, there's a really pretty bird. If you're having a heightened eclipse season, where you're really being asked to expand and grow and become the best version of you, or you are having a Mercury retrograde where you're planned but nobody else is, So you're having to wait for everybody to catch up, but it's even more painful because it's Mercury Retrograde. Imagine that I am literally walking with you as you take this meditation, as you take this little breather, because you know what? You got some extra time in Mercury Retrograde. God, I cannot believe how green LA is. It is mind-blowing. This is climate change. The place is basically a desert most of the time. Imagine I'm walking with you. I've got my arm around you and I'm saying, "You friend, give it a month. This is going to shake out. Give it to the next eclipses and you'll have a whole other set of grown-up problems you're working through. And don't think about them as problems. Think about those challenges as the opportunities you need to go from boring beige brigade to technicolor, joyful tie-dye life. All of that unpredictability that just looks so beautiful in its end result." I kind of like a beige house. But you know what I mean. There's like a yellow beige from the 90s that isn't good. Like, imagine that. You're just going to keep putting each foot in front of each other. You will do that little cognitive exercise again. 3 things I can hear. Birds, cars. Trying to strain for a third. I'm going to stop and see if I can get a third. Oh, I can just about hear the leaves rustling. It's very faint. Oh, now I can hear a plane, so I got 4 in the end. 2 things you can... Should we go for see or feel? We did feel at the beginning of this meditation, so let's... Continuity, people. 2 things you can feel. I got to get a picture of these flowers as well. And then 1 thing you can sense. I can sense spring. That's a good one. Okay. You're going to come back to that little cognitive exercise. You're not going to let things overwhelm you. You're not going to let things get on your nerves. Instead, you will move your legs. You'll come for this walking meditation. You're welcome to say fuck it. Fuck that. Fuck them. But you won't let it bother you any further than that. And you will keep moving, and you'll move your body until you change that energy and you change that mood. Because you are able to roll with change now. You're able to see silver linings quicker. And you're able to feel disappointment in a healthy way, in a constructive way. In a way like, oh, well, that was perhaps a waste of time for the podcast, that one I recorded that didn't work out, but it was good for my soul, and doing this again, also good for my soul, and hopefully, with any luck, it'll benefit all of you people who, thank you so much for downloading, listening, sharing. I can't tell you how much of a massive difference that makes. You help grow the community. Cool, that's great. You're also helping on that micro level. And imagine someone who hasn't got a tool like this, like doesn't know that they don't need to sit there in the pre-2020 ways we dealt with things, pulling our hair out, going for a big glass of wine. I mean, you can still do those things, but I'm hoping that you're able to do them less or know that you have other options. Man, life pre-2020 was kind of hard. And I do think about it a little bit more right now because we are really on that anniversary of the first lockdown. Just taking some photos there for for social media for this episode. I'm not embarrassed about this stuff anymore. Like, you guys make me feel like I don't need to be either. Whenever I say like, oh, I feel vulnerable, I get like these amazing messages from you. And I wish I'd started this podcast in 2019, like my husband told me to. Would have been a way, like that whole awakening I went through would have been way less lonely. But I'm here now. And hindsight is 2020. Anyway, if you want to stop and do a little stretch before we end, now is the time. I'm going to bring myself around here. Hopefully I'm not in anybody's way. And I'm going to say, I wish you a week of mindful marching. Rolling with change. Making last minute plans be the best thing to happen in your week. And I would really like it for you if we could agree right now that when things throw you off your perch this April, you're able to hop back on, or you're able to sit quietly just below your perch until you're ready to get back on. And that you don't need to feel the big roller coaster ups and downs that we sometimes feel.
What is that, a mudslide?
I think so.
Wow. No, you can see down there, you can see where the old guardrail is down there. That was like 15 years ago.
Do you want to say hi to my podcast quickly?
Hi.
See, it's really important to be in your community. Like, I would have never known that piece of information. And now it's at the end of your meditation. A perfect example of imperfect is actually bloody brilliant. So thank you for coming on this walking meditation with me today. Please save this so that you can come back to it over April and find your balance and hear from lovely older gentlemen who live in my neighbourhood. And always with the podcast, if you can share it, if you can like it, if you can review it, it really helps me grow this community. It helps to get the message out further, and it makes a world of difference. One small action from you could change everything for somebody else and for me. And if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions on places you want me to go and walk, or things I should talk about, or quotes, I love quotes, don't hesitate to send them to me. hello@spiritualmixtape.com. Oh, and I have some free breathworks up as well. If you go to the actual website, spiritualmixtape.com, drop your details in, literally right there at the top of the website, you'll get Press Play, my first ever breathwork that I made to help me get into action when I was living in freeze mode. It's all there for you. And there are many other freebies. And please don't hesitate to get in touch. Thank you. Have a really, really amazing April. Have a really enjoyable Mercury Retrograde. Let's just rewrite how we all feel about Mercury Retrograde and be like, do you know what? I'm going to really enjoy my phone being slow, my emails going haywire. I'm going to find the joy in it. Anyway, lots of love. I've been Daisy and you've been amazing.